My name is Raj Sivaraju. I'm the president, Arete IR, based out of India. Did you know that in India, the number of cyber attacks that we're seeing year on year brings India to be the second largest field for cyber events, right behind America? You can only imagine how potent a cyber incident field we in India are. And in that, healthcare happens to be on the fourth list. That means out of every 10, 4 events are happening in healthcare alone. Healthcare is a very, very important industry for every nation, likewise in India as well. And therefore, cyber threat intelligence is really putting a lot of focus on trying to understand what is happening in the healthcare industry from a cyber event perspective. And what we are seeing is a number of attacks are growing every single year. The cybersecurity market around the world today is estimated to be around $230 billion in the year 2022. And it is projected to go all the way up to $480 billion by 2030. You can only imagine the speed at which the cybersecurity market has to grow and the impact it will have on the healthcare industry. We are seeing some very interesting emerging trends in the healthcare industry this year. If you see, phishing, drive-by compromise, and password compromises are three main ways the threat actors are getting access to the healthcare organizations. We all should be focusing very, very closely on the phishing, the way phishing is being used to compromise an organization. It constitutes almost 50% of the times that healthcare companies are being compromised. Ransomware happens to be one of the leading cyber attacks that we are seeing in healthcare. From a ransomware perspective, we are seeing that on an average, a healthcare organization is demanded upwards of $300,000 from a ransom perspective. In some cases, and of course, extreme cases, we have seen initial demands of $3.4 million from a ransom perspective. Now imagine if any company is being demanded that kind of money. Now, from a payment perspective, what we are also seeing is the average payouts in the healthcare industry have been around $130,000. But if you see some really interesting cases, we paid only about $60,000 to get all the access back. In almost 74% of the cases, healthcare industry pays ransoms. So this has been the trend that we're seeing around the world. In 2019, we have seen variants like the Ryuk, the Revil, being the leading variants that were attacking healthcare. Nowadays, you are seeing that Conti is becoming one of the leading variant that is attacking healthcare. A very interesting data that we're seeing is while most of the variants are unsustainable within the healthcare industry, but the overall cyber attacks continue to be healthy. They are continuing to get attacked. A new variant is coming very frequently. Therefore, we believe that healthcare as an industry continues to be lucrative, continues to be a point of interest for these threat actors. For anybody who's keeping a track on ransomware, you can see that these days ransomware has become almost like a ransomware on service. What it means is a lot of these families within the ransomware ecosystem, the variants, those variants are not only increasing every year, but their family members within these variants are also increasing. That means a lot of the threat actors, they take the software, the variant, the ransomware in itself, and as a service from the actual creators and use them on targeted clients. This is becoming a trend, and therefore the ransomware as a service is continuing to be thriving within the healthcare industry. Based on our thousands of cases that we have worked on, we are seeing that some of the trends, some of the tools or hardening of software that is being undertaken by the organizations have proven to be very, very important in safeguarding organizations against ransomware. In that, having multi-factor authentication really safeguards a lot of the organizations from ransomware attacks. Likewise, taking effective backups on a very regular basis reduces your propensity to be attacked by almost about 38%. When you have EDR, which is an endpoint detection and monitoring tool, your propensity to get attacked is reduced almost about 70% of the time. So I encourage all of the organizations to adopt these important ways of hardening your security postures, which can help you from staying away from being attacked by ransomware actors. We at Arete are helping organizations prepare for and respond to cyber attacks on a daily basis. Our main objective is to avoid organizations getting into or being attacked by cyber criminals. So, way back in 2019, when my partner Joe Mann reached out to me to try and increase their capacity and help complement their services in the US out of India, that was a time I truly thought to myself that being in the cyber industry is going to be one of the most exciting journeys of my life. And that's how Arete started in India. We started in 2019 just by monitoring endpoints on a 24 by 7 365 basis. Now, in India, we are not just monitoring endpoints, but we are also having very large forensic capability. We provide incident response services to a lot of the top cyber insurance carriers in India. We have grown strength to strength. Today, we are almost about 250 people across India helping organizations in managing their cyber events. Our biggest and most important mandate that we have for ourselves is to be able to reduce the business impact a cyber event would have on an organization. A business impact can really cripple an organization. And our objective is to try and minimize it to the least as possible. Arete is growing very, very strong. In 2023, we will be growing at least by about 30% in India for sure. Today, we are about 490 odd people around the world, and India 250. And 2025, our plans are to be around 1,000 people just in India. That's the kind of demand this industry has in terms of incident response and also managed security services. We provide proactive services like monitoring and assessments, as well as reactive services from an incident response perspective.